action. Right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending this evening, this extremely warm evening. To the Planning and Environment Committee being held tonight, Tuesday, the 7th of July. Usual announcements. We're being streamed to the internet. If you need to speak, make yourself known, please. Mobile phones off or silence, please. I've actually remembered to do that myself before saying it.
Just leave it in the car now.
I've got nothing else to say particularly, except many of us will have been at the council meeting last week and heard two presentations which were revealing and pretty comprehensive. I don't know whether there's been any local feedback at all. I think amazing, isn't it? When we had no members of the public, but it was being streamed, and you might have expected some kind of response.
Can I just say there was somebody posted on Facebook, so somebody had obviously made it common knowledge now, and somebody had pasted the picture on Facebook and said, "What the hell?" And there were a lot of comments on there from
So
that.
the two presentations were for the West of Birmingham,
Yeah.
and for Kingswood down at Everton, both of which very extensive. But we were heard, and they are making themselves available to be presented to and consulted with, which is to be commended, I suppose. Not with every developer, as we know. I've got nothing else to say. Apologies after absence, Richard.
Councillors Fayalgar and Kate Rowbottom, both for approved reasons.
Okay, propose we accept those as approved reasons. Seconded, Anna, in favour, please. Jeremy? Unanimous. Any declarations of interest? As usual, there is none. And 4, approval of the minutes of the meeting last held on the 2nd of June. Everybody's seen those, of course, and had a chance to read them. Everybody happy with the content? Accurate. Yep. Propose we accept those in accurate record. Seconded, David, all in favour? Unanimous. Thanks, Richard. Item 5, clerk's report, please.
Yes, only one item to bring up. It's the update of the local plan consultation, as was mentioned. What's that council meeting? Last Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yes. We touched on it last Wednesday. At cabinet meeting at HPC last night, it all went through. So there will be the consultation period of the 13th of July until the 24th of August. More news on that coming at you soon.
So 5 weeks of consultation for a local plan which extends to 2034.
They're running two at the time. So one's 2030, one's 2040. So yes, quite fair.
Okay. That's it, Richard. Yes.
Yes. Sorry, that was all.
Thank you very much. Item 6 is the public session for the benefit of the stream. There are no members of the public present this evening. So, item 7 to consider planning applications, the first of which is DC 260579, which seeks the retrospective permission for the installation of one internally illuminated sign, which has been attached to the front elevation of the King's Head in High Street. So, the illuminated sign is already attached to the building. It is an illuminated one, but this is a retrospective application that's been stuck up there with no permission. Comments? Marie?
I don't have an issue with this. To be fair, it's very low lighting. It's not bright. There is a complaint from the HTC conservation specialist saying it's not in keeping with the building, which I find quite illuminating when you've got the building next door, which is bloody awful, and we've got the Barclay building falling down further up the high street, which is really awful. And this, you don't even notice it, to be fair.
No.
It's tucked right out the way. You notice as you're driving down, you notice the hanging sign more than you notice the sign on the wall.
Well, the hanging sign has been there since Donny's
Exactly.
ages, of course, and it's entirely in keeping with the age of the building.
I've got no problem with it. It's not actually, if it later on it can all be removed, it's not actually doing any detrimental damage to the property. So I can't see any problem with it.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah, just a quick word. The sign itself, I have to agree with the conservation officer. I wouldn't have chosen that. I don't like it. But I do find that the high street needs a little bit of this, and the animation that you get at night going through, I think this participates to the active side of being citizen. I think we should support it.
Okay. Anna?
I agree.
The only thing that came to my mind, apart from the fact that it is not in keeping with the conservation area, which is no question about that, it's a modern sign, it's an advertising sign. About proliferation, you allow one, where does it stop? I mean, that might Tokyo High Street, you know. Just a thought. We allow one, that's a precedent created.
Well, pubs are in the half done. We've got to back our local businesses. I think if that, you know, it's not detrimental.
If we were minded to approve this or not object to it rather, would it be prudent for us to put some caveat in that we would like to think that we're only approving this single one-off sign, and it's not should be taken as creating a precedent?
Might be hard to word that.
I'm sure we can find a way.
No, I'm maybe thinking on the grounds
I mean,
which it's okay for one but not another.
Yeah, but also I think we could put a mention.
You could make it a precedent in relation to one building. One applicant.
On this occasion.
Yes.
But we can also make a comment. I mean, it's a bit sad and upsetting that they didn't apply for it in the first place, and I'm sure they did know that any illuminated sign needed planning permission. Anyway, whatever. So we couldn't say it's regrettable that we are not forced, but we have to take a view on it because it's already there.
Yes, that's fair comment.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, a proposal then, please.
Right, no objection to,
Subject to?
no objection to.
Well, subject to planning permission being submitted for any other signs.
Yes.
And if they would be, I don't think we would.
And to regret that this was a retrospective.
Yeah, I think it's not, that's not right. I don't think it's right.
As a premise.
Yeah.
So the proposal would be to the effect that we regret, that the Parish Council regrets that the sign was put up without permission, but we accept that it's there. We don't object to its putting into use. However, we would not like to see this as a precedent, and we see this as the single only illuminated sign on this building.
Okay.
That's a proposal. Seconded, please. Marie, all in favour of that? Okay with that, Richard?
Just to confirm, Chair, so that is in both response to the advertisement consent 260579 and the listed building consent
in the conservation area. Okay, great. So moving on to 260693, which seeks the demolition and construction of a new specialist dwelling, bracket, in replacement of an extant consent for dwelling approved under 24/1962, gardens, parking and use of access to West Chiltington Lane, all at the stable block, Kettlesbridge Farm, West Chilt. Now, demolition and building and construction of a new dwelling in replacement of the extant consent. Now, the original consent, 24/1962, let's remind ourselves, if this came to us, I remember it quite distinctly. It was a kind of ramshackle old building, which was literally a stable block, which they wished to convert into a disabled accessible building. Convert into. That was two years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
The consent only had a 3-year period on it, so presumably they are thinking, if we're going to do it, we need to do something, we need to do it now. It would appear that maybe the needs have increased of this person to whom they wish to make this a tailored building. That's an assumption, of course, but in 2 years, it's not an unreasonable thing. They wish to have hoists and mechanical lifts and so on, all of which need load-bearing beams and all manner of things. And if you look at the existing building, it is literally just an old stable block. I can't imagine that it would take a great deal of engineering adaptation for such things. So they've got we approved it last time, I do remember it, and HTC clearly gave permission for it to be changed. Now they want to just change it from footprint to footprint, apparently.
Indeed, you've got, I think you know where it is then, as it's previously submitted on, and it is that same stable block to be turned into a
So
single
not
dwelling.
one down, just build a whole next space.
Yeah.
It's got services already because it had some kind of kitchen arrangement in it before.
Yeah, to have a kitchen down there and toilet and sanitation at that end, so it's not much change there.
No.
And the externals, nicer facade.
Is it flat roof? It looks like it's a flat roof.
It is a flat roof.
Yeah, that's a shame. Anyway, okay. Anybody want to say anything about this?
I think they've got to get on with it if they've got something to do with disabled and running worse.
I mean, it could be more aesthetically pleasing, I'm sure, but
Oh, yeah. They're working with what they've got, aren't they?
That's not our concern. That's not part of the application anyway. So if nobody wants to say anything about this particularly, I'll propose that we don't object to this. I'll second it, please. Marie, all in favour of no objection? Unanimous. (260800) seeks the erection of a single-storey detached outbuilding in the rear garden at 36 LeBaron Way. So erection of a single-storey detached outbuilding. Well, we'll have all seen that this is intended to be a home office. So it's a pretty basic piece of thing, isn't it? Flat roof shed, basically. Yeah. Where it's been put in the site behind the garage seems to be, in keeping with the site. There's no representation. Well, incidentally, no representations on any of tonight's agenda, but there are no objections to this one, which the neighbour is going to see it. So clearly they haven't felt the need to represent an objection. Anything to say about it? Proposal, please.
I propose we accept.
Okay,
I propose we don't object.
Yes.
Sorry.
Seconded,
I'll
Anna.
second
All in favour of no objection? That's unanimous, thank you.
I'll get my words right eventually.
We know the gist. 260818 also seeks the erection of a single-storey rear extension and installation of window and door to the ground floor at side elevation. So this is erection of a single-storey rear extension and installation of window and door to the ground floor side elevation of the existing building at 1 Maple Close. Let's look at this. Remind ourselves.
So location, the existing elevations on floor plans.
Another flat roof.
I don't think so.
It's got a-
So-
It's like,
Oh, is it flat roof?
No, that's
That's
existing.
existing.
That's the existing one, and it's got a slate on it. There's the slate.
It was pen roof.
Yeah. The bottom roof plan is wrong. I don't know why.
That's not right, is it? That should
But
show.
the red at the bottom left there, the proposed roof plan, I don't even understand what even that's about. That doesn't correspond to anything, apart from the main house.
If it was a pen roof, you might think that it had.
Yeah, well, I think it's missing off that plan anyway.
Okay.
So you can see on the proposed roof plan, it's at the top there with the 3 skylights.
Now,
It's a kitchen, living,
yeah.
dining.
So that's. Let's deal with this in 2 goes. The new side elevation is going to be tacked on, as we can see there, with a slightly bent roof.
No.
Things like that. And then in what says kitchen, living, dining area, currently, we want to add, no, that's the addition.
Now, let me go back to that. So that's what it is now.
So at the moment, it's a pretty small living area.
Yeah. It's just a change to the room.
Yeah, so it's just giving them more living space, basically. And those Velux windows will be on the pen.
Yeah.
So they won't overlook anybody.
No.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything about this?
Really? That's reasonable.
Okay, proposal please.
Proposal down to object.
Okay, seconded. Lorraine, all in favour of no objection? Unanimous. 260819 seeks the erection of a part first floor side and front extension, a single story rear extension, and the conversion of garage into habitable living space and new and altered fenestration. So 2 pieces of extension and 1 piece of conversion at 9 Eastern Crescent. Part first floor side and front, single story rear, conversion of garage into living space.
For those who don't know, just there at the top of there.
Very moving, thank you very much for that.
Eastern Crescent.
I can't think of the road to the
Nightingale.
south. Thank you, yes. I had on the tip of my tongue, honestly. So we're looking at the proposed section there. Extension front and at the back, which will go from that existing ground floor to the proposed ground
I
floor.
mean, at the moment, it's a bit of a jumble, isn't it? And they've just squared it all up.
They are going from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom
Yeah.
in a very built-up area. Those houses are very close together.
Okay, so parking comes into mind.
Absolutely.
I can take you back to
The garage they wish to use as habitable space.
They only have 1 space in front of the house. And they'll now have a 4-bedroom house.
Yes. Okay. 4-bed cars. Well, go back to the site, so plan, it's a pretty small site, isn't it? Well, I don't know. Is there a front garden which they could use?
There is obviously, and that's the driveway to access the garage, but if you look at it, because of the configuration in the end of a plot, they've got that curve, which means that if you put 2 cars there, you're basically going to have the backside of your car in the drive, public drive, which is
Not ideal.
Is there, so when we were looking at one end of Dorps Avenue, Doe Avenue, there was a covenant when that estate was built. I couldn't find anything when I was looking, but I don't know whether there's a covenant with this estate around extending the builds because of the space that is already limited anyway.
Yeah, right.
So the current regs is that you would need 2 cars minimum there,
Yeah.
which they can't,
You can't have.
apart from converting their front garden into a total drive parking.
They can't have much on street parking, can they? Because that's a cul-de-sac.
You can't,
There's no parking on
you
street.
can see it.
That's probably why they did it.
Yeah. And that there's space that's just before their property on the drive. That's just for the visitors. Yeah, there's 2 indents. That's so that people can just pop in.
Bit of public layout.
Yeah, that's it.
Can't be many visitors.
The issue is you go from 3 to 4 bed. Is HDC going to say, well, actually, it doesn't fit the current planning regulations for the number of car parks?
Well, the current planning regulations, correct me if I'm wrong, with a new build at least, if you have 4 beds, in our case, our house, we've got 3 parking
Yeah,
spaces.
2.5, 3. Yeah.
No, not even 2.5, 3.
Is it 3?
It's a garage
Okay,
and
interesting.
2 tandem.
it's a bit of a problem, really. You know, you should put, 3, 18-year-old plus the parents. How is that going to work?
Okay. I think it's a good point, a very good point.
Yeah.
This is overdevelopment and there's no provision for the parking space which they're going to take into habitable use. Whether they use it or not is neither here nor there. It's a parking space which they either choose to use now or not, but it's a parking space which we are going to allow them to take up and use as a habitable space, denying one parking space. And with a 4-bedroom house, we believe that there should be a provision for 2.5 or 3 cars, and we don't see the sign that will allow for that. Is that summing up where we are with this?
Yeah, I think we've got to consider, if we did let this go through without commenting on it, you have 7 residents that can come back and say, listen, why on earth did you think that was...
There are no representations.
I know, but they might not have seen it or been friendly. And then the day that you've got 3 cars in that drive, how do you sort it out?
And it might be that they've got small children at the moment, and so people aren't thinking ahead.
Yeah,
So,
but then they sell in 2 years' time to a family with 3
or they're
children.
there long enough for the children to get old enough to do that.
Can we, should we be looking some kind of compromise, or is it just black and white? The application before us, we wouldn't see is feasible.
No,
therefore we should reject it.
We have to.
On the other hand, there's 3 parts of the application. One part is to use the garage.
Yeah.
You could say, they should retain as a garage.
Well, converting the garage is one thing, but you have then to apply the space, the affordable space for the car that you're basically taking out of the street.
Yeah.
Somehow the front garage.
Almost certainly the garage is not used as a parking space.
No, and we know why. They're useless.
Because if they
They're
don't
useless.
do
Absolutely. You put a car in, you can't open the door. So,
so if they
of course.
don't do the garage,
It's a dump.
And cars have got
Okay, one at a time.
if they don't do the garage, have they still got room to build the 4th bedroom? Because is it reliant on the garage and?
No. It's a playroom at the moment, so they're putting the 4th bedroom on the 1st floor, so
that would work.
Yeah, that would still work.
If we were to say not the garage, they would still have room for the 4th bedroom.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So maybe this needs to be broken
I'm
into.
not sure that we should be doing that.
No.
The application before us is quite plain. It's for 3 elements, and it's not up to us, I don't think, having thought of the subject myself. I don't think we should be kind of capsulating it. I think it should be dealt with as a whole.
Oh yes, I'm just asking the question is if they came back to us and said, can we just do this bit, that's what I'm thinking. It's not for us, I'm not saying, I'm just asking.
They would have to reapply.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but we can note, it's true, just a comment saying we have no objections in the architectural transformation. The alteration is pretty much okay. It's just that the impact on the street parking is going to be a major issue.
Okay, so is that the basis of the proposal, David?
Yeah, objective C.
You propose that we object on
the basis that we can't allow for conversion of a garage space into habitable space if there's no provision for an extra car park.
On the basis that we believe a 4-bedroom house should have at least 2.5 to 3 parking spaces, and this site does not allow it.
Yeah.
Should we be that specific? I think we should.
I think so. Yeah.
Agreed?
Yeah.
That's what we will. So just add that to the proposal if we may. In which case, perhaps I could second that. All in favour of that? That's unanimous. Okay, Richard, have you got that?
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. And lastly, 260949 seeks the demolition of existing conservatory and erection of a single-storey side extension at Beryl Way, 59 Beryl Way. Demolition of an existing conservatory, erection of a single-storey side extension. It doesn't say so here, but it appears to be pretty much like for like. Yeah, pretty much. So they're just making it a bit more permanent with a brick wall and
Yeah.
One of the glazed walls looked out over a fence anyway.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the way, didn't it? Anybody want to say anything about this? In which case, our proposal, we don't object. Seconded, please. David, all in favour of no objection? That's brilliant. Thank you very much. We have no additionals. Thank you, Richard. Unless you've got them up your sleeve.
No, nothing new.
You put them in the shredder. Which brings us to item 8. To consider any licensing applications received.
No applications received.
And item 9 is to consider any nominations for street naming.
No nominations, nor any requests from developers.
Yet. Item 10 is to note reports from the Planning Authority and 10A, planning application decisions contained in Appendix A. Well, there's one standout, isn't there?
Can I ask, do you remember what the third on that list is? Erection of a temporary residential space area to include provision of parking, blah, 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 for Bailway House. Where is this?
Yeah, it's okay. As you're going down the Link Road, going towards Liddell, you have the 6 houses being built in the
On the side, yeah.
and then there's a grass area with
That's
some
it.
storm drains, and then you get to the back of the houses at Dadswell. And it's between the storm drain and the side of the houses in Dadswell Drive.
That's in preparation of WOBC.
It came to us, and it was on the basis that they needed a sales office. It's a development. We didn't feel that we could deny them a sales office. That it would be in Wooddale Lane was impractical. And so we said, yes, it's temporary for however long, 2-3 years, probably.
Okay.
They've started it.
They have, they've cutted it off, and the diggers are in. I've lost it at the moment. Where's Barclays? Over the page. I mean, that, to me, that was a standout, and I don't know whether we want to say anything more about that. It's a disappointment that we've not been listened to, apparently. Maybe there are good reasons. Have you any information, Richard, as to whether there is a separate interest in the front as a retail?
Nothing yet, no.
So that is going to go ahead. How that works squares away with the parked derelict building, I just have no idea. But the rationale, did you understand anything about the rationale, Richard?
Yes, I think basically around what we discussed here, was it 2 months ago? They validated it without the front section, and the rear met the criteria that it was submitted under. They didn't really do much more than that. They seem to have addressed the drainage issue, which I think we've got along that section of the road. Yeah.
I suppose, looking at it more positively, it's possible perhaps that when some works do begin on it, or indeed on completion, and it becomes residential, that it may be a much more attractive proposition.
Yeah, and it might also fund the second stage of that building refurbishment.
Yeah. So disappointing. We had an opportunity. We did our best to prevent it going the way it did, but it did. Anything else to say about Appendix A, anybody? Thanks for that, Richard. And Appendix B is to consider, let's see what the agenda says, appeals and appeal decisions. Simple as that. Anything, headline?
Nothing exciting there, Chair, just a new appeal against non-determination. So because they hadn't a response before the determination deadline, they've appealed to get it moved ahead.
Okay.
Just to mention the Duckmore, the second one, well, the third one on that page, Dagmore Barn, which is a steel frame building, which I know quite well because I walk around there. They want to convert it into a house, into a dwelling, which is quite an interesting one, and it really is on the cusp of being lawful or not. The building is there. There's a roof, there's a structure, but it burnt at some point, but because it's steel, for some reason it stayed up. So the building is actually not demolished; it's still there. So as a farming unit, you're allowed to convert it into.
What's the balance of the argument in favour?
I think the officer said that he thought that it was beyond repair, and the applicant said, "Well, no, it's there." And the structural engineer came and assessed that it was fine. Yeah, so interesting.
I mean, there was a time, wasn't there, where if you had any agricultural dereliction, you could almost immediately get permission to convert it into some habitable.
Still stands.
There still is, pretty lax actually. Yeah.
Very interesting. And finally, Appendix C, which is enforcement updates. These are always a bit of a chuckle to read through sometimes, aren't they? Was there
Just
anything?
keep it there, just a reminder.
Yeah. We won't go through them one by one.
We're getting used to this anyway.
In actual fact, it doesn't.
No, Chair, needless to say, nothing new and nothing closed, which is
So that's the status. It must be summer.
yes.
Great. Anyway, thanks for putting all that together, Richard. That's it's still illuminating.
Yeah.
If not particularly conclusive.
No.
Which brings us to the date of the next meeting, which is the 4th of August at 7. August is a funny old month. I know we're the only committee that sits in August, but needs must. Make your apologies as early as possible, please, so that we know whether we're going to be okay or not. And make every effort to be here because it is August, please. Otherwise, thank you very much. Meeting closes at 19:32.
Quite good.